Good morning and welcome to Morning Brew on Labour Social. It is Wednesday the 22nd of May 2024. I'll just say a big hello to everyone in the chat. Gallifrey and Ren there. Hope your back gets better. We've got Anthony Fisher in there. We've got Plum Duff. We've got Maureen O'Mara. We've got Wayne in there. We've got the great British video gamer. Hi. Not seen you for a while. Siskin Edge is in there. Craving Beer. Has Graham ever been on time? Yes, I'm always on time. Graham is never late, nor is he early. Custard Cuddling, a new craze was born, saying Plum Duff. What? And Colin Baker saying, morning, my favourite doctor. Right, so today we're going to be talking about voter suppression because it emerges from an article written in The Times. It's been also available on The Independent if you don't pay for The Times. That Johnny Mercer has been talking. He's not very happy with the situation in with the Tories, basically. And apparently, number 10 blocked veterans' IDs, a ballot box over fears it would open floodgates to students. This is what Johnny Mercer has said. He tried for months without success to convince Downing Street to let veterans use their IDs to vote. But he said that the Prime Minister's special advisors blocked the plans over fears it would mean students could use their own ID cards too. Why would we want students voting, hey? You know, those young people who might not be able to drive because now it's £50 a driving lesson. They might not have a passport because it's really expensive getting a passport. It's insanely expensive to go anywhere now because the Tories have made it so. And so everyone's just basically living with their parents, going to the university that is nearest to them, not leaving the country because that is the preserve of the rich. And again, like so many things, there was an article this morning on the Guardian website about how we're going to get wetter and wetter weather, which is quite appropriate today because it is pretty everywhere. Well, I think everywhere. Is the sun shining where you are? It certainly isn't here in Durham. But yeah, apparently because of climate change, we are going to see wetter and wetter weather. We're going to see wetter winters like we did over the autumn and winter last year and the beginning of this year. And as a result, instead of it being once every 50 years, it's going to be once every 5 years, and it's going to be once every 3 years on average. So you might have a 3-year run of wet winters, which is not just costing people money in terms of like flooding and the fact that 1 in 7 houses are not insured, but also it's going to cost more in terms of food because obviously we're not farming as much when the fields are flooded and the vegetables are all getting absolutely covered in sewage water by the looks of things. Oh, by the way, your water bills are going to go up between about 20 to 90% to pay for all the work that should have been done 30 years ago. But it wasn't because it was very important to take money off you and give it to some foreign investors. That's the weird thing about Tories. Sorry, just to go back to the flooding thing. Again, it doesn't affect the rich. If you are rich, you can go and live somewhere else. That's what they've done to us. This is the thing that really pisses me off about the whole Brexit thing. They have made it so that you and I, normal people living off a normal wage, can no longer afford to go and live in Europe. Live anywhere in our continent. Pretty much. Anywhere you'd want to live. I don't think there's too many people queuing up to go and live in Belarus from the UK. But that's been taken from us, but not taken from the rich. And I'll make this point time and time again. Everything the Tories do, they do not affect the rich. If you can afford a passport, you can vote. So if you've got rich parents and you go on skiing holidays to the Algarve or wherever people ski, they're going to say, oh, yeah, I've got a passport, I can vote. And yet, working class people in inner city areas will not have the ID that they need. And most people aren't attuned to politics. Most people, they take part in it maybe once every 5 years to vote. That's it. They go to vote. And then suddenly, oh, hang on. No, you need ID. You need to have written to your council to get some, voter ID stuff off them. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And this is going to happen massively in the general election because up till now, we've only had 2 local elections for councillors and things, and only about 30% of the population vote in those things because most people aren't that arsed. The general election is different. I mean, the general election, this is a massive thing. And there's going to be so many people who are caught out. So many people. Johnny Copperhead, straight in there with a super chat. Thank you very much, Johnny. That is very kind of you. I'll find me super chat animation. Hey, there you go. There. Johnny says, it is my considered opinion that voters should select their politicians. Politicians shouldn't select their voters. I couldn't agree more. But like I say, this is a weird thing that the Tories want to do. They want to, they hate democracy. They hate the plebs having any rights, essentially. They don't want the riffraff, the hoi polloi to have any rights. They just want all those rights to themselves. They want to be free to do and say whatever they want, no matter how horrible. And everyone else can suffer in their jocks. And this doesn't just go for, this goes for education. Obviously, they don't care if schools are crumbling. They don't care if schools are getting found not very good by Ofsted, and that head teachers are literally unaliving themselves as a result. They don't care about that. They don't give a shit. They don't care. Because their kids go to a school that doesn't have to be inspected by Ofsted, because it's a private school. They don't have to be inspected by Ofsted. Great. And they can opt out of the system. And this is why, during COVID, you saw the people who got the most, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this to me. Horrors like Penis Corbyn and Loser Fox and that, what's her name? Birchall. No, not Birchall. What is it? Julia Heartless Brewer. All those little posh knobs going, I don't want to have to wear a mask. I don't want to be stopped from going to the supermarket when I want to. I don't want to have to queue up. I mean, look at me. I'm rich. I don't want to have to queue. Who do I bribe so I don't have to queue? No, everyone has to queue. Oh, but in the airport, I get fast track because I can afford to pay for it, so I don't have to queue. Yeah. Soon as it starts affecting the rich, they go nuts. They go crazy. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they're bringing in these public health and safety protocols to try and protect people. How dare they? How very dare they? And this is the way the Tories think. And it goes into everything. It goes into medicine. I've said this before, but I mean, it's a grim fact that the Tories have made it so that if you are a young person who is trans, you will not get the medical support that you deserve or need. They've closed down the Tavistock Centre. They've attacked mermaids. They've gone after every way of protecting young people and giving them the attention that they deserve. But if you're rich, oh no, if you're rich, it's fine. Like, your parents can literally pay for you to go to another country and get whatever you need done. It's just the rest of us. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. It's not just one rule for us and one rule for the rich. No. It's one reality. Reality. Everything that you know and that you experience in life is different if you are born into wealth and privilege and Tory voting. But as soon as it affects you, that's when you get your backup. And that's why Johnny Mercer, who, I don't particularly like the guy, but I have to give him a bit of credit for what he's done for army veterans. But at the same time, he's now saying, "Oh, but this is my gang, the army veterans. Why aren't you supporting them?" And it's always like, "Well, you see, if we support them, we're going to have to let young people who aren't rich vote." And we don't want to do that. We want to suppress their votes because we know they won't vote Tory. And one angry pagan says, England isn't totally lost. We can still do better. And I agree with that sentiment. Thank you very much, one angry pagan. It's not all doom and gloom. The Tories are on the way out, and there might be an election announced. Who knows? People are saying because the consumer price index, the CPI, has gone down from 3.2% to 2.3%. The Tories are going around crowing this from the hilltops. Oh my God, the inflation's gone down. Inflation's gone down. It's too little, too late. Too little, too late. From 11%, which they pretty much put that up there. I know that inflation's gone up around the world, but the Tories that Liz Truss budget. Oh my God. They damaged it. They damaged this country's economy. They damaged everything. But there you go. Thank you very much to Captain Bart Roberts there for the £5 super chat towards the water bill. Thank you. That's very needed actually. So thank you very much. Captain Bart Roberts again, another £5. Thank you. Birchall has been bloody quiet of late. I've not had the misfortune to bump into her in town. We're talking about Julie Birchall. I wasn't actually talking about her. I was talking about Julia Heartless Brewer, but they're kind of interchangeable. I think. Are they interchangeable? Are they a bit like Jake Gyllenhaal and oh God, who played Spider-Man? Oh, okay, that's going to annoy me. Tobey Maguire, that's it. Jake Gyllenhaal and Tobey Maguire, utterly interchangeable. Roger Haslock says, why aren't we being told to stock up on Spam and Evian? Why are we being told to stock up on Spam and Evian? I don't know. Has he done anything for veterans? I thought it was all profit-making schemes. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe it's maybe it's all a bit of a show. Maybe he doesn't really care. Maybe he doesn't give a shit. But he makes a big effort to be seen, saying that he should be looking after our veterans more. These are people who have fought in the army, suffer from complex mental health problems, PTSD, and they end up on the streets. They end up on the streets because they can't adjust to civvy life, and the Tories just leave them to die because that's what the Tories do, because they don't care about anyone or anything but themselves. Rishi Sunak has seen his personal wealth increase by £120 million last year. £120 million. I mean, what is wrong? If you have any Tory friends who are struggling right now, can you call them up and just say to them, hey, I've got something to tell you. Your Prime Minister there, through the fact he gave contracts to his Infosys company, well, his father-in-law's company, of which Rishi Sunak owns over £500 million worth of shares in that company. He's been giving Infosys contracts from the taxpayer, from the government. Been giving them contracts. Here you go. Have some taxpayers' money and make my share portfolio, my personal share portfolio, worth more. Wow. Spam, wonderful spam, says Larry the Cat. Indeed. Spam. Asking the important questions, Plum. Well, the question was, Colin Baker, haven't heard from Will Self in a while. Maybe he's having a little bit of self-reflection. Maybe little man, what's his name? Fartank? No, Francois, that's it. Maybe Marcus Francois or Marco Francois. Maybe he took him out. Do you remember when he had that staring competition against Will Self in court? That was fun. Bloody Vikings, surely that's illegal, says Sarah. No, it's not. The Tories have made it so anything that they want to do is good and legal. And there's bugger all we can do about it at the moment. Which is why it's so important that in the next election, we wipe them out. We wipe out the Tory party, because it's got to be a punishment that is actually going to affect them. Nothing else will do. Rishi Sunak says that if he loses the election, he's going to stay on as an MP. No, you're not. Is that like when your man Cameron said he'll stay on if he lost the referendum, the fraud referendum? He said he'll stay on, and then he didn't. Tinkanator, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. That's really kind of you. I think political philosopher Vlad Vlexer puts it best. Our Western democracies are chronically sick, but not terminally ill. There is hope to recover, but it will take a lot of time and effort. Yeah. But these bastards feathering their nests with the compliance of the compliant Tory press. I mean, look at this. This is the covers of the newspapers today. Obviously, it's dominated by this horrific story about a Singapore Airlines flight which got into trouble in terms of turbulence and over 50 people have been injured, and a 73-year-old grandfather was killed, which is awful. There's a story in the Times here which is just mind-blowing. Make fewer arrests to help jails, police told. This is just this is Tory Britain right now. So there's not enough space in the jails for everyone. And the advice urges leniency for non-priority offences. So people are getting away with it. And also, if you read down into the text, they're saying if there's a chance of multiple arrests, like they go into do a big drugs bust and take out an entire crime syndicate at once. No, don't do that. Don't do that anymore. We haven't got the space. We haven't got the space to put them in jail. So just let them off. Just let those criminals off. And one of the other things that they won't go after is fraud, which is what the Tories have been absolutely massive on for the last 14 years. Not against it, but definitely for it. They're definitely for fraud. They love their fraud. How much was it? Was it nearly £10 billion worth of fraud that was just got ignored by Rishi Sunak? That corporate fraud during COVID, £10 billion transfer of wealth from the poorest people in society, paying their taxes on everything they buy, giving that money to corrupt millionaires and billionaires. And that's the Tory way. They're such scum. They are such scum. And I want to clear some space in the prisons for the Tories once they're out of power, and we can start throwing them in jail for all their myriad crimes. This is a weird story. This is Brit charged with spying for China, found dead in Maidenhead Park. So 6 days after appearing in court charged with spying on Hong Kong activists in UK, former Royal Marine is discovered dead in Berkshire. Even. Police investigate unexplained death of Matthew Trinket, 37, who was due at the Old Bailey this Friday. You look at what's happened to the president of Iran. That might have been an accident, who knows? But then you look at what happened to the prime minister of Slovakia. You look what happened to the head of Wagner last year. Hanging out with these tyrant regimes, hanging out with the Chinese regime, hanging out with the Russian regime, being mates, getting those publicity shots, shaking hands with Putin. I'm not saying that it's a death sentence, but things aren't looking great if that's what you decide to do with your life, I've got to say. Big alarm in big increase in under 40s with diabetes, obesity, junk food, and gross inequality blamed for 39% rise in 6 years. That's the story on the front cover of The Guardian there. Again, it doesn't surprise me. Does not surprise me one little bit, because the Tories are driving everybody else down into unhealthier relationships, unhealthier diets, unhealthier mental states, and healthier living conditions, unhealthier transport. Like, everything about the Tories is ill, is sick, is unhealthy. They don't want a healthy country. It doesn't provide them with everything. They want that kind of like Wall-E future where everyone is just a big fat slug living in a big chair that floats around in space, so they can just keep making money, just make money, more money, while the earth is just a big trash pile. I mean, that would be their perfect situation. Powerless humans who can't even lift their arms because they're basically evolved to not have to do anything. The government is there to just do it all for them. Just sit there and watch TV, make money for us, buy things. Capitalism, consumerism, hurrah. We'll take 25% VAT on everything, and we'll give it to our mates. We'll give it to our friends for dodgy PP that doesn't even work, and kill thousands of doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals along the way. We'll kill 18,000 people in the nursing homes in the care homes, because we're not going to put a ring of steel around them. No. We're not going to do that. We're going to literally put people who have COVID into these homes to spread the COVID around those homes. You think it's bad that there's parasites in the water in the southwest? Yeah, you think that's a bad thing, right? What about putting someone with a deadly disease in a care home on purpose? That's what the Tories did. And that little Rishi Sunak rat man is now Prime Minister, and Matt Hancock is appearing on television shows like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, On Ice in the Stars with the SAS in the nighttime, or whatever it's called. This is disgusting. This is absolutely disgraceful. These people should be in jail for what they've done. It's mass murder. There's 250 people dying every week in A&E waiting to be seen. It's murder, corporate manslaughter. They're killing everyone who's not like them. Everyone who didn't go to Eton. Everyone who didn't go to Winchester. Everyone who didn't go to Harrow. They don't care. They do not care. All they want is money. And they're doing it like, obviously, I mean, this isn't a conspiracy. This isn't like me going, oh, well, I've got this secret information that only I know. No. They do it out in the open because they know they'll get away with it, because the people who write the newspapers, they don't really care about the Tories being corrupt as hell. They're just as corrupt. Thank you very much for the super chat from One Angry Pagan. As you missed it earlier, shout out to the poor rats being compared to Tories. Rats are sociable, empathetic creatures. Tories are like mozzies. Yeah, but if you got rats in your garage, and there's rat shit everywhere, that's really not healthy. Okay, that's not a healthy situation to be in. But yes, poor rats. Rats and apology. Oh, well, there you go. After as you just said that, I looked at the screen and saw what came up. After 676 years of taking blame for the bubonic plague, Boffins admits human lice may have been the real cause of millions of deaths in the Middle Ages. So, but it wasn't. It was never the rats. It was the fleas on the rats that it was blamed. But there you go. There's a Tory MP on the front cover of the Daily Telegraph saying, "I've lost my hands and feet to sepsis," says Tory MP. I've not read too much into this, but surely, the sepsis is something that should be picked up by the NHS. I'm assuming that something went horribly wrong there in the hospital when he was there, that he got sepsis, blood poisoning, and it's deadly. Like, it is horrific. Like, sepsis is really, 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 really bad. And yeah, he's lost his hands and his feet. He's going to stand again as a Tory MP in the next election. So good luck to him. We'll have at least one Tory MP who I don't want to necessarily see cry in a supermarket, in a leisure centre at 3 a.m. And then the extreme turbulence on Boeing 777. Now, that's interesting. It's a Boeing airline. Boeing have not been having a good time of it. I don't think this is necessarily the fault of the plane, because turbulence does happen. And I've had a few friends who it's happened to, and it's been absolutely horrific. And all I can say is, when you're flying, two things. One of which, count the number of seats to the emergency exit. Always know how many seats, because you might have to walk there in the absolute pitch darkness. And the other thing is to bear in mind is that most people survive a plane ditching. They just don't get out of it in time before you can't get out anymore because of reasons, which I won't go into. It's too early in the morning. But yeah, so just be aware of that, and also wear your safety belt. So that's 3 things. Always wear your safety belt when you're sitting down. Always wear a seatbelt when flying, says Steve's Retro Loft. Yeah. I always think that when I'm watching Star Trek, right? 2 things, right, piss me off on Star Trek, right? It's set in the future. No safety belts. Every time they get hit by a enemy photon torpedo or a big rock or something in space, everyone's like, oh, hey, and falls around. They've got blood all over their head. I gotta go to sick bay. I'm like, install safety belts. They're like, it's an emergency. We're in an emergency. Locked down the battle stations. Do they put safety belts on? No, they're just standing there looking at the view screen going, oh, well, you should fire some torpedoes back. And then they can't fall over. And the other thing is CCTV. Like, they go, oh, there's an imposter on the ship. There's someone on the ship that we need to find. It's like, why didn't you just look on the CCTV? Oh, no, we don't have cameras on a ship. That'd be come on. Civil liberties. Anyway, good tip about the counting plane seats to emergency exit. I always do that. I always do that. I don't like flying. Well, I don't mind being in the air. I don't mind sitting there watching a movie, being fed terrible food. What I really, really, really dislike is airports. They are the most miserable construction of oppression known to man. They are torture devices. These gigantic concrete glass, disgusting warehouses of human misery, where you have to stand in a queue, sweltering hot because the AC is never working, is it? And I'm a backpacker, so I've got a stupid backpack on when really I should probably have a wheelie case at my age. But I've got my backpack on, and I'm standing there, and I've got to queue up for a bloody passport now because of bloody Brexit. And then I've got to queue up to go through the scanners. And oh God, I went through the scanners earlier this year, and my backpack and one of the little hundreds of pockets that I've got in my backpack, I'd left a Swiss Army knife that was given to me as a gift. It had a little etching in, and I had to. Now they have a service where it's like, hey, if you've got something in your bag that you shouldn't have and you can't take it on the flight, well, you can get it posted to yourself. And I'm like, oh, okay. So go online and I register this knife, and it goes off into a little plastic bag. And I pay £7 to pick it up from the airport on the way back. Fly in, land about 9 o'clock at night. And I go, okay, where do we go? Lost and found. Lost property. Open 9 to 5. It's not open. It's not. Okay, so I got it sent to myself. So I ended up spending £24 to get this knife sent back to myself, my little Swiss Army knife. Yeah, and I'm just like, this is just the worst. Everyone's upset. Everyone's in a hurry. Everyone's just stressed out. Manchester Airport is the worst of all airports as well. I've been to a lot of airports around the world over the years, and Manchester Airport does actually take the biscuit as just like the worst. You fly into Cairo, you fly into Delhi or out of Mumbai, you're expecting a little bit of developing nationness about it all. But Manchester, no excuse. No excuse at all. Oh, I'm drinking out the wrong thing. Terminal 5 Heathrow toilets are nicer than mine, lol. Not been on a plane since 2005, says Steve's Retro Loft. It's probably a good idea. Michael Gove has no need to fly on an airliner. He's often as high as a kite. Ditto for Don Trump Jr. Yes, I agree. Lord Walney wants to take away your rights. That wouldn't surprise me. I don't know who Lord Walney is, but yes. Yep, and you need to walk longer distances. Never-ending gait in distance. Yeah, Leanne Scott. I mean, just everything. Everything about airports is just miserable. It is just the most miserable, wretched experience. And you're paying for it. And you're treated like scum by the people who work there. Do you know, especially in Manchester. Like, you go through security there. Wow. They don't want you there. They don't want you flying. They don't want to make you have a nice day. They want you to be as miserable and wretched as they are. Anyway, so yeah, never been on a plane, says Sarah Davis. Well, good. just as someone who travelled around the world without flying, yeah, if I had my way, I would not fly anywhere. But if we want to take the kids to Barcelona, we have a choice. We could either fly on EasyJet, which costs about 50 quid each, or we can take the train, which costs about £500 each. Avoid the bleak terminal at Bordeaux Airport, Billy or Jimmy. What? My TV says 2 are watching. There's only 2 people watching this. That's not true. Is that true? There's only 2 people? Yeah, it does. It says that on my one as well. Well, hello everyone who's watching. You're not being counted for some reason. We've got the concurrent viewers 2, and the average view duration is 4 seconds. I don't know what's happening with the stats there, but never mind. David Huado says, Graham, I always landed on Manchester Airport. It was not so bad. There's an independent candidate running for president in the US, Robert Kennedy Jr., who was recently diagnosed with having a worm in his brain, so he's a vessel for the almighty brain worm, says Benjamin. Nick and Dave says, I like my socks off if there's more than one defection today, but I think the other parties need to take some. Yeah, well, we're hoping more defection. So that brings me on to the fact that, good timing, thank you, because it's 10 o'clock. It is Prime Minister's Questions today at 12 o'clock. If you want to watch it along with the rest of us, our socialites in the chat, and with me, you're very welcome to do so. It makes it. I like to think it takes the edge off a little bit. But yeah, I've had 7 ads. Graham, YouTube is on one. Why have you had 7 ads? I don't know what. I honestly don't. I'm really sorry about the ads and everything. That shouldn't happen. You should get like 1 set of ads in the whole stream, if that. Yeah, I'll try and sort this out. Let me see. Okay. So turn the ads off. Hopefully there's no more ads for people. Emma, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. That's really kind. Thank you. Lord Walney was our Labour MP. He stabbed Labour in the back and was made a Lord by Boris. What a creep. Birmingham Airport is a building site at the moment. Took a shortcut through it a few months ago as I was at the NEC. That's from Steve's retro. Is it Birmingham Airport? Is it East Midlands Airport that had a monorail and it was crap? And now it's basically, it runs on tyres. It's got tyres as it goes along the concrete pylon thing rail in the sky. It just looks disgusting. Sisk and Edge just putting up the gay pride flag there, like that. Stephanie says, I cannot stomach listening to Sunak. It's noble of you, Graham, to suffer it for us. Thank you very much, Stephanie. It's very nice of you to say. Ads on Geoscope last night were bad. I don't know why it's doing so many ads. It's supposed to do one set of ads throughout the show. But yeah. Cough, cough. Unblock Origin. so having the cat. And Lucy Willis is putting up trans pride flags as well, which is fantastic. And obviously this is a safe space for people who are LGBTQIA+, because live and let live. That's what I say. Live and let live. Stop being horrible to minorities, Tories, and defend the Tories, and people who are just weird on Twitter. One thing that we might see in the next few months is that as more people who aren't on Twitter, which is the vast majority of people, learn what the transphobes have been doing, we might start seeing a bit more of a backlash and a bit more solidarity amongst people saying this is completely not on. Because the excuse of J.K. Rowling of like, oh, I've got friends who are trans is becoming more increasingly hollow by the day. She has no friends who are trans. The way she's going, she's not going to have any friends, full stop. Except for some fascists who want to just put people who aren't right into camps and cure them. It's not the kind of company you really want to keep. Sunak does need some medication. It says Gary Arnold. Yeah. Leanne Scott says, I always think the grifter on The Simpsons with the monorail bankrupting the town. Yeah. I mean, monorails are never going to sound good anymore. The Simpsons have destroyed, quite rightly, the monorail, because monorails are a terrible idea. They are always a terrible idea. Stop trying to reinvent the train. We have trains. They run on rails. The trains are interchangeable as long as you put them on the same rails. If you've got electric above them, even better. But even if you don't have an electric train, you can put a diesel train on an electric line and it'll still run because it's the same width of the train lines. It's fine. It's there. It works. Stop trying to reinvent the freaking train. Just make more of them. Make more of the trains. Trains are good, especially the electric ones. Get the power from the air, from the sunshine. Don't get it from Saudi Arabia. Just top tip. I sadly have some very homophobic relatives, very knuckle dragging in nature. That's from the Freckle Puny. I'm like, why? Why does it bother them? I mean, this is the one that just winds me up. It's because like I had relatives who were homophobic, not necessarily with us anymore. Who you just like, what? How does gay people existing affect your life in any way, shape, or form? Two people falling in love and wanting to be together. What the hell has it got to do with you? Nothing. That's what it's got to do with you. Nothing. Zero. Absolutely diddly squat. But again, like with most things, these people want to make it so that if you're rich and gay, you can do what you like. If you're rich and trans, you can get all the medication you need. You can get the HRT that you need. You can get the puberty blockers that you need for your kids. If you're rich, that's fine. If you're mega rich. The rest of us? No. You're not allowed to be gay. You're not allowed to be trans. You're not allowed to be a European citizen. You're not allowed to go and live in France. You're not allowed to go and live in Portugal or Spain or Italy. You're not allowed to do that. No. That's not for you. You get back to grinding away. Bleed into the machine that is there to make us more and more money. £120 million, that not fabulous person Sunak made last year. £120 million he made. Meanwhile, 1 in 4 children in this country is living in poverty. And that is why I get a little bit wound up when people are like, yeah, but Labour are no better. Yes, they are. Okay? Sunak isn't making, Starmer isn't making £120 million a year off the back of the poor in this country. Sunak is. There's a bit of a difference there. You know, the Tories do anything. They get away with it. Don't forget the Mail went on and on and on about Starmer having a beer. You got that Dan Hodges weirdo on Twitter going on and on. Day 39 of the Angela Rayner inquiry. There's nothing to inquire. There's nothing that's gone on. Meanwhile, Tories have made 5.4 million. 4 Tory MPs made 5.4 million selling their property that they got paid for by us. We paid for it, and then they sold it, and they made a massive profit. Oh no, that's fine. The rich can do what they like, but a gobby ginger northerner like Angela Rayner, oh no, she can't do that. She's not rich. And this is the 2-tier system, the caste system that we are born into in this country, and it's got to be pointed out and it's got to be stopped. Because until you point it out, people don't know. People just think this is normal. No one knows they're in a cave until they leave the cave and go, oh, I was in a cave. And this is what we need to keep doing. Everyone watching this, everyone involved in this channel, and other political commentators on YouTube who are on the left, they need to just keep pointing this out because it has to be pointed out. Otherwise, we're going to have to live with it for the rest of our lives. And I, for one, do not want that for myself. And I don't want it for my stepkids. And I don't want it for your kids either. Or any kids, to be honest with you. It's got to end. We have become Borg. We are a hive mind, says Gallifrey Ray. I am Locutus the Borg. Bacon, the food of the gods. Anyway, so, yes. Indeed. Well, depends what god you worship, mate. Certain gods, they look upon bacon and are like, no, don't eat that. Anyway, so thank you very much for the discussion this morning. Thanks for all the wonderful messages in the chat there. Like I say, I'll be back at 12 o'clock for morning brew. This is morning brew. Back at 12 o'clock for PMQs with Graham Hughes. And until then, I'll say thanks for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Give us a like on the way out. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.